8th grade Grizzlies. This is Miss Brown again, the voice of the 8th grade Science Ed puzzle. And this is part 2 of your review video for your test that is on March the 4th. So I did the other video that went through the rest of the review sheet, and I said that I was going to save this part for a whole separate video. And then there's also some questions on your test from past things that we've learned from first semester that I do want to go over. So we're going to do this part first, the dichotomous key, and then we're going to go over a few other things that you will need to know. I just want to refresh your memory on some things that we have learned. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with this one. Okay, so we did a whole gizmo on dichotomous keys, where you had to identify the types of albatrosses, cartilage fish, buttercups, venomous snakes, and evergreen trees. So this is a little more practice for you. We are identifying types of bugs, okay? So we're going to go through each one. So let's start with A. So with a dichotomous key, you always start with the first two questions. And one of the limitations of this is that you have to know the vocabulary, and your interpretation might be different than the interpretation of the parameters, or the description rather, of the dichotomous key. All right, so let's get started. So we're going to look at letter A. All right, if it has wings, wings present, or wings absent. It does have wings, so we're going to go to number 2. Back legs are adapted for jumping. Back legs are not adapted for jumping. Well, if I zoom in, let's see if I can zoom in. Well, I'll pick the paper up. That might be easier. Okay, so if we look at his legs, there's a joint there. So it is adapted for jumping, okay? So this is this one. And I'm not going to even try to say these names. I'm just going to write them in. Okay. And I'm not going to write the other part of his name, the name. I'm just going to write the first part just because the boxes are kind of small. Okay. Okay, moving on. Okay, so the next one we're going to look at is letter B. Okay, wings present, wings absent. It has wings, so we go to 2. Back legs are adapted for jumping, are not adapted for jumping. So if you look, his legs are kind of straight. There's not really a joint there. They're bent, but it's not really a joint. So they're not adapted to jumping, so you go to 3. Does he have 2 pair of wings, or one pair of wings? Okay, let me start over with that one. I'm sorry. Okay, so wings present, yes, you go to 2. Back legs adapted for jumping, not adapted. They are not adapted for jumping, so we go to 3. He has 2 pair of wings, or 1 pair of wings. Now when they say 2 pair of wings, they mean like this bug here. He has 2 pair of wings. This one has 1 pair of wings. This one has 1 pair. So he has 1 pair of wings. So this is a Drosophila. And actually the Drosophila is the regular old common housefly. That's the one that drives you crazy, that gets in your house and you want to get him out. All right, let's go on to bug C. Bug C had wings present, wings absent. Bug C has no wings. So we go all the way down to 7. He has 3 pair of legs, or he has 4 pair of legs. He has 1, 2, 3 pair of legs. So this is his name. And like I said, I'm not even going to try to pronounce these. I'm just going to write them in. Okay, let's move on to bug D. And let me see if I can zoom in, guys. I feel like these are, okay, I guess I'll just have to move the paper around because it feels like we can't see everything in here. All right, bug D. Wings present, no wings. Bug D has wings. So we go to number 2. Hind legs adapted for jumping. Hind legs not adapted for jumping. They are not adapted for jumping. So we go to 3. He has 2 pair of wings. He has 1 pair of wings. He has 2 pair of wings right here. 1, 2. So 2 pair of wings, we go to number 4. Wings have hairs. Wings don't have hairs. There are no hairs on the wings. So we go to number 6. Thorax with spots, thorax without spots. Okay, this is the thorax right here. There are no spots on his thorax. So this is his name. Okay. All right, we're going to move on to E. Okay, letter E. Wings present, wings absent. Wings are present, so we go to 2. Back legs adapted for jumping. Well, he doesn't even have back legs, so we go to 3. He has 2 pair of wings. He has 1 pair of wings. Okay, looking at this one, I misspoke earlier. I apologize. There are 2 sets of wings. Okay, let me show you. This is one set here, and this is one set here. So it has 2 pair of wings. So we go to 4. Wings have hairs. Wings have no hairs. The wings have hairs. These little things right here are the hairs. So we go to 5. The hairs on the wing are longer than the width of the back wing, or the legs are shorter than the width on the back wing. These are shorter than the width of the back wings. Okay, so the hairs on the back wings are shorter. Okay, so this is his name. Oops, let me move that. I'm sorry. Okay, we're going to move on to letter F. All right, so let's look at bug F. Wings present, wings absent. He does have wings right here. So we'll go to number 2. Back legs are adapted for jumping, not adapted. They are not adapted for jumping, so we go to 3. He has 2 pair of wings. He has 1 pair of wings. He has 2 pair of wings. This is a pair, and this is a pair. So he has 2 pair of wings. We go to 4. The wings have hairs, or the wings have no hairs. These are hairs. These wings have no hairs. So we go to number 6. We look at the thorax. That's this right here. The thorax has spots. It has no spots. He does have spots on his thorax. So this is our name right here. Okay, give you a chance to write that in. All right, we're going to move on to bug G. So bug G, wings present, wings absent. The wings are present, so we go to 2. Back legs are adapted for jumping or not adapted for jumping. They are not adapted for jumping. There's no joint. They're just straight. So we go to 3. 2 pair of wings or 1 pair of wings. He has 2 pair of wings. This is a pair here, and this is a pair here. So he has 2 pair of wings. We go to number 4. Wings have hairs, no hairs. These are the hairs. Wings have hairs, so we go to 5. The hairs are longer than the width of the back wing, or they're shorter. They are longer than the width. This is the width of the back wing. They are longer. So this is his name. All right, and we've got one more to do. All right, bug H. Okay, so this is bug H right here. So wings present, wings absent. He has no wings at all. So we go all the way down to number 7. He has 3 pair of legs. He has 4 pair of legs. He has 4 pairs of legs. This is 1, 2. This is a pair right here. And this is a pair here. So this is his name. Okay, so I wanted to walk through this, ladies and gentlemen, because I wanted you to see just how carefully you kind of have to look at these dichotomous keys, because it can be very confusing when you go through them, okay? Because like this is 1 pair of wings, this is 2 pair of wings. So you might look at this and say, oh, it's 2 pair. Or it's 1 pair, but it's actually a pair here and a pair here, okay? All right, I'm going to pause for just a second, and I want you to turn your paper over. I'm going to give you a second to write the rest of this down. Go ahead and turn your paper over when you're done, and there's a few things that we learned at the beginning of the first semester that I want to go over, and then we'll be done with this review. There's a few more things I want to go over for your test, and then we'll be done with this review, okay? All right, so way back when, we talked about the electromagnetic spectrum, and we talked about the different types of waves. So I'm going to attempt to draw this out. All right, so we talked about the long waves, so we had radio waves, microwaves, infrared rays, or infrared. Then we had visible light. And remember, visible light is the only part of the electromagnetic spectrum that we can see. Okay? We cannot see radio waves, we cannot see microwaves, gamma, etc. We can only see visible light. Okay? And then we had UV, or ultraviolet. And then we had X-rays and gamma rays. Okay, so I want to refresh your memory on a term that we talked about called ionizing and non-ionizing. Ionizing means harmful in high doses. Okay, so this half, let me change colors here. This half of the electromagnetic spectrum is harmful. So ultraviolet, X-ray, and gamma rays, they are harmful in high doses. Okay, so these are ionizing. Oops. Okay, and then this half of the electromagnetic spectrum we said are non-ionizing. That means they are not harmful. So this half is non-ionizing. Okay, so radio, microwaves, infrared, and visible light, they are non-ionizing. Okay, so I'm going to give you a chance to write that down, and then we're going to do a couple other things, and then we'll be done. Okay, if you remember way back when we talked about hurricanes, so remember, warm ocean water that provides energy for a hurricane. Okay, and the water usually has to be 83 degrees or higher. Okay, so if we have warmer temperatures than normal in the Atlantic Ocean, we're going to have more hurricanes, because the warmer the water, the more hurricanes, and the more likely you'll have a hurricane. Okay, and going along with weather and hurricanes, we talked about how Earth is heated. Okay, so we know that Earth is heated by the sun. Okay, and Earth is heated unevenly. Okay, so Earth is heated unevenly. Okay, so remember the equator, it gets direct sunlight all the time. Okay, so Earth is not heated evenly because sunlight, like I said, hits the equator, and then the warm air rises. But as it rises, oops, I'm sorry, I'm out of frame here. As the heat rises, it cools off, and then it sinks, and then it's reheated again. So remember, we talked about convection. Okay, and this is where cold air sinks and warm air rises. Okay, so warm air rises and cooler air sinks. So Earth is heated unevenly because of convection. Because see, all of this warm air at the equator, it rises, and then by the time it gets north, it sinks, it cools off, and then it sinks. So Earth is heated unevenly, which causes changes in air density, which results in wind. Okay, so keep that in mind, because you're going to see a question on your test that asks what happens because Earth is heated unevenly. And the answer for that is you're going to have wind. Okay? And then the last thing I want to go over is biotic versus abiotic. All right, I'm going to squeeze in a few notes here at the bottom on biotic and abiotic, and then I promise we'll be done. So I'm going to just do my little T-chart over here. And biotic, abiotic. Okay, so biotic is, this prefix bio means living, and abiotic, the AB means without, so this means without life. Okay, some examples of biotic factors. Things living: human, animals, trees. Okay, those are all living things. All right, so your abiotic: wind, water, sun, carbon dioxide, soil. All of that is non-living. Okay? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I have your test in front of me, and I'm going through, and I think I have covered everything that you need to know for your test. So on behalf of Mr. Winter, Miss Ludeman, Miss Ford, I am Miss Brown. This is your last test of this grading period, Grizzlies. So make sure that you go over your review sheet and listen to this video, and it will go. The more you hear it, the better it's going to stick in your brain. So we believe in you, Grizzlies, and we know that you're going to rock this last test of the third grading period.